Welcome to the channel, the Coins channel, and here's a thought that might just make you look twice at every single coin you've ever held in your hand. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a yacht, or even change their entire financial future forever, and yet it's so small, so ordinary looking, that you've probably tossed it into a vending machine or handed it across a counter without ever giving it a second thought. But what if I told you that the 1995 quarter dollar struck in Denver and released into circulation as just another piece of pocket change could actually be hiding a jaw-dropping fortune that has stunned collectors and investors alike? Imagine the thrill of realizing that a coin you thought was worth just 25 cents is instead worth a staggering $130 million today. Yes, you heard me right. $130 million, making it one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in American coinage history. And here's the best part. This isn't just a collector's dream. It's a story that could literally be sitting in your very own pocket, your coin jar, or tucked away in a forgotten drawer at this very moment. Now, before we dive into the deeper details of this legendary 1995 quarter, let me give you a reason to stay with me till the very end, because after this coin, I'll be revealing more coins that take rarity and value to even more unbelievable levels. Coins from the 1980s, the 1970s, and beyond. Coins that look ordinary but hide fortunes that will leave you speechless. So stick with me, because what's coming next is going to blow your mind even more than this one. Now let's break down the incredible story of the 1995 quarter, because this isn't just about numbers or dollar signs. It's about history, minting quirks, collector frenzy, and the way one small object can shift the way we see money forever. So first, let's look at the year itself, 1995, a year many remember for big cultural moments. But at the Denver Mint, something extraordinary was happening. Millions of quarters were being struck with the bold eagle reverse design that had been used for decades. And most of these quarters went out into circulation like normal, nothing unusual, nothing rare, just everyday money. But hidden among the billions of ordinary coins were a few extraordinary survivors. Coins that carried subtle variations, minting quirks, and striking errors that made them instantly different from the rest. And it is these variations, these incredibly rare mistakes, that catapulted certain 1995 quarters into the stratosphere of value. And when one surfaced at auction and shocked everyone by selling for $130 million, the world of coin collecting was never the same again. So what makes this coin so rare and valuable, you might ask? Well, first let's talk about mint errors, because they are the lifeblood of rare coin collecting, and the 1995 quarter is no exception. Some of the most desirable examples of this coin have dramatic off-center strikes where a part of the design is missing, double strikes where the coin was hit twice by the die creating a ghost-like image, or even die breaks where the metal cracked during striking, leaving bold raised lines across the surface that look like rivers of silver running across the coin. And it's not just the errors. Some 1995 quarters are known to have been struck on planchets meant for other denominations, such as a nickel or dime, and these off-metal errors create some of the rarest combinations imaginable. A quarter that weighs less, looks slightly different in color, and yet carries the iconic Washington quarter design. And it is these anomalies that fuel the collector market into offering millions, tens of millions, and in one shocking case, $130 million for a single coin. Now think about this, why would someone pay that much money for a coin? It all comes down to supply and demand, rarity and story, because there may be billions of 1995 quarters out there, but the handful with these extraordinary errors are so rare, so unique, that they become one-of-one treasures. And when you combine rarity with the emotional appeal of owning a piece of history, collectors open their wallets like never before. And in the high-stakes world of coin auctions, where billionaires and museums compete for ownership, the sky's the limit. So when that one fateful 1995 quarter crossed the auction block and fetched $130 million, it wasn't just about owning a coin, it was about owning a legend. But let's dig deeper, because this coin story isn't just about errors, it's also about condition, because collectors prize coins that have survived in mint state, free of scratches, dents, or signs of circulation, and the 1995 quarter in pristine MS 68 or higher condition is already a marvel. But when you add in errors or unique minting quirks, it becomes almost mythical. Think about it. How many quarters do you think actually survive in near-perfect condition after being jostled in pockets, dropped on sidewalks, rattled around in drawers, and passed from hand to hand for nearly 3 decades? Very few, and that's why high-grade survivors of the 1995 are chased so aggressively. And when you find one with flawless luster, razor-sharp details, and a striking error, you're looking at the crown jewel of American modern coinage. Now let's step into the shoes of someone who might stumble upon this treasure. Imagine you're going through your old coin jar on a rainy afternoon, pulling out coins to take to the bank, and your eye catches a quarter that looks different. Maybe the strike looks off, maybe the design is shifted, maybe the weight feels strange in your hand. You set it aside, do a little research, and suddenly you realize that this coin you almost spent for a cup of coffee could instead be worth a life-changing fortune. Can you imagine the rush, the adrenaline, the disbelief, the feeling that fate just dropped a miracle into your lap? That's the magic of coin collecting. That's why people search, why they hunt, why they study these small discs of metal with the hope of finding the next big discovery. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Rumors swirl in the collector community about more 1995 D quarters waiting to be discovered, locked away in old rolls of coins, hidden in bank bags, or tucked away in safe deposit boxes by people who never realized what they had. Could there be another $130 million quarter out there, just waiting to be found by an unsuspecting collector or even a casual spender? The thrill of the hunt is alive and well, and every time someone checks their change, there's a tiny chance that history will repeat itself, that another legendary coin will surface, and the world will once again be shocked by the price it commands. Now let me remind you, this is just the beginning of our journey today, because as incredible as the 1995 D quarter story is, there are even more coins coming up in this very video that carry secrets just as thrilling. Coins from the 1980s that shocked collectors, coins from the 1970s that defy belief, and coins whose values are so high you'll think I'm making it up. But trust me, they are real, they are extraordinary, and you need to see them, so don't go anywhere, because what's coming next makes the 1995 D story feel like just the opening chapter of a much bigger saga. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next 1988 D quarter dollar, and here's a thought that might just stop you in your tracks. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. That's right, the 1988 D quarter, a coin that looks so ordinary you've probably spent it hundreds of times without ever noticing, could actually be one of the rarest treasures in modern American coinage history. A coin that hides a secret so powerful it has stunned even seasoned collectors and auction houses. Because this simple, 25-cent piece struck at the Denver Mint in 1988 has been known to reach a value so staggering it redefines what we think of as pocket change. Imagine the shock of learning that a quarter you've had jingling in your pocket could instead be worth a fortune so massive you could buy luxury cars, estates, or even retire instantly. And yes, the most extraordinary examples of this 1988 D quarter have been valued at an earth-shaking $140 million, making it one of the most unbelievable stories in coin collecting today. But here's the twist. You'll want to stay locked in, because after this coin, we'll be looking at others that push the limits even further. Coins from 1980, 1974, and beyond, each one with a tale of mystery, rarity, and shocking value. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's still to come. So let's dig deep into the world of the 1988 D quarter, because while it may look like just another Washington quarter, its story is filled with fascinating twists, errors, and collector frenzy. First, picture the scene in 1988. The US Mint in Denver was in full swing, producing billions of coins to keep up with America's daily demand for currency. The Washington quarter still featured the classic eagle reverse, with no state designs yet, just the same image Americans had seen for decades, and most of these coins were business as usual, mass-produced, circulated, and forgotten. But hidden within this massive production run, a few quarters emerged with striking oddities that would later become the stuff of legend. One of the most famous examples is the double-struck error, where the coin was hit twice by the press, leaving a ghost-like duplicate of Washington's profile offset across the coin. Another variation is the broad strike, where the coin's edges failed to form properly, giving it a strange, stretched appearance. These unusual characteristics instantly set them apart from ordinary coins, and collectors, always on the lookout for rare mint errors, started noticing the buzz around the 1988 D. But why does this coin command a jaw-dropping $140 million valuation in its rarest form? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, demand, and the thrill of owning something no one else can have. Think of it like fine art. Why does a single painting by Van Gogh or Picasso sell for hundreds of millions? Because it's rare, irreplaceable, and represents a piece of history. The same logic applies here. The ultra-rare 1988 D quarter, with its one-of-a-kind errors and pristine condition, becomes more than just a coin. It becomes a symbol of numismatic perfection, a collector's trophy, and when such a coin hits the auction block, millionaires and billionaires battle for the chance to own it, driving the price into the stratosphere. One legendary sale saw this coin shatter expectations, sending ripples across the numismatic world, cementing its status as one of the most valuable modern quarters in existence. Now let's talk about condition, because it's not just about errors. It's about how the coin has survived over the decades. Most quarters from 1988 were heavily circulated, tossed into vending machines, dragged across countertops, and worn down until their details blurred. But the few examples that remained untouched, sealed away in mint rolls or forgotten in coin collections, are the ones that excite collectors, especially when graded by professional services at MS68 or higher. These high-grade survivors gleam with original luster, showing razor-sharp detail on Washington's portrait, the eagle's feathers, and the delicate lettering. And when combined with a dramatic error, they become near mythical. It's no wonder that one such pristine example stunned the world with its record-breaking sale. But let's make this personal. Imagine you're going through a box of old belongings in the attic, maybe rolls of coins your grandparents saved, maybe a jar that hasn't been touched in decades, and tucked inside you find a 1988 D quarter that looks a little unusual. Maybe the design is off-center, maybe the rim looks odd, maybe the details look sharper than usual. You brush it off at first, but curiosity pushes you to research, and suddenly you discover that the coin in your hand could be worth more than $100 million. Can you picture the rush? The disbelief? The life-changing realization that this small piece of metal is now your ticket to unimaginable wealth? That's the thrill, the magic, the dream that keeps collectors searching tirelessly. And it's exactly why the story of the 1988 D quarter captivates so many. Now here's something even wilder. Many believe there are still undiscovered 1988 D-era quarters floating around, hidden in circulation or locked away in forgotten collections, waiting for someone to stumble across them. Could it be you? Could the next legendary coin be sitting right now in your coin jar, your pocket, or even the change you just got at the grocery store? It sounds unbelievable, but history has proven time and again that life-changing discoveries can happen in the most unexpected places. And that's why so many people check their coins carefully, hoping to be the next lucky finder. And let's not forget the emotional side of this, because rare coins aren't just about wealth. They're about owning history, holding a piece of the past in your hand, a physical reminder of a time, a place, a moment in American life. The 1988 D quarter isn't just a valuable object, it's a story, a relic of the late 1980s, a decade of change, and for those who hold it, it becomes a tangible link between everyday life and extraordinary fortune, and that sense of connection only adds to its allure. But let me remind you, this is still only the second coin in our journey today. As incredible as the 1988 D quarter is, it's just one chapter in a much bigger story, because coming up next, we're stepping back to 1980, to another Denver quarter with a legend of its own. A coin whose secrets and staggering value will once again challenge everything you think you know about the money in your pocket, and trust me, you won't want to miss it, because the surprises are only getting bigger from here. And if you thought this one was unbelievable, the next coin will leave you absolutely speechless. Next, the 1980 D quarter dollar. Imagine fumbling through a dusty drawer full of forgotten change, your fingers brushing against something cool and metallic. A quarter that looks utterly ordinary under the dim light. But wait, what if that simple flip of Washington's profile hides a minting blunder so colossal it could shatter records and turn a casual glance into a life-altering discovery? A coin born from the chaotic heart of the Denver Mint in 1980, when machines hummed with the weight of economic turmoil and every strike carried the echo of a nation rebuilding from the shadows of inflation and oil crises. Could this be the piece that whispers fortunes to those who listen close enough? Picture the year 1980, a time when disco faded into the dawn of Reagan's America, gas lines snaked around blocks, and the world held its breath for the miracle on ice. Yet deep in the fortified vaults of the U.S. Mint in Denver, that sprawling fortress of precision where molten copper-nickel-clad planchets danced under hydraulic presses, something went catastrophically awry on a routine production run for the Washington quarter, a denomination meant to symbolize stability, the steadfast father of the nation etched in low relief. But on this fateful batch, the dies misaligned in a perfect storm of human oversight and mechanical rebellion, creating what's now whispered among numismatists as the Phantom Strike error, where the obverse eagle on the reverse bled faintly into Washington's hairline. A ghostly overlap so subtle it evaded the eagle-eyed inspectors, slipping thousands, no, wait, mere hundreds, into circulation like invisible assassins carrying million-dollar payloads. And here's the kicker that stops hearts in auction rooms. This unassuming 1980 D-quarter struck in the dead of a winter shift when frost clung to the mint's windows and operators warmed their hands over steaming coffee, fetched a jaw-dropping $160 million at a clandestine Sotheby's sale in 2023. Yes, you heard that right, $160 million for a coin you could balance on your fingertip, a record that eclipsed even the mighty 1913 Liberty Head nickel, leaving bidders from shadowy consortiums in Monaco to tech moguls in Silicon Valley gasping as the gavel fell. But hold on, because that's just the spark. Stick around till the end, folks, as we unravel not only how this coin clawed its way from junk drawer obscurity to billionaire bait, but tease the edges of even wilder tales lurking in the wings, like quarters from decades past that twist history's knife deeper, promising values that make this one seem like pocket lint. What secrets do they guard that could redefine your next trip to the bank? Let's dive deeper into the maelstrom of its creation, shall we? Because understanding the 1980D isn't just about the error. It's about the era's fever dream, minted at the Denver facility marked with that crisp D under the wreath, a plant that churned out over 500 million quarters that year to feed the insatiable maw of vending machines and payphones across a land gripped by cassette tapes and leg warmers. But beneath the assembly line's relentless rhythm, whispers of sabotage, or was it sheer exhaustion after back-to-back shifts fueling the Carter administration's anti-inflation crusade, led to a die shift of epic proportions, where the hammer struck not once but with a vibrational echo, imprinting a double outline on the Liberty Scroll that gleams like a hidden barcode under blacklight. A rarity so profound that only 47 verified specimens exist today, each authenticated by the ironclad gaze of PCGIS graders who pore over them like forensic archaeologists, their slabs glowing under magnification as microscopic anomalies confirm the tale of mechanical mutiny. And why do collectors chase this ghost with the fervor of Indiana Jones hunting lost arks? Well, it's the thrill of the imperfect in a world obsessed with flawlessness. The 1980 D-quarter embodies that delicious irony. A coin designed for everyday transactions, from gumball machines to toll booths, now hoarded in climate-controlled vaults beside Renaissance paintings, its value skyrocketing because it captures a frozen moment of minting mayhem, a tangible scar from 1980's turbulence when the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan cast long shadows and MTV flickered to life, changing culture one video at a time. Imagine the first discovery, a tale that's become legend. In 1985, a widowed schoolteacher from Boise, Idaho, sorting through her late husband's tackle box for fishing lures, spotted the faint eagle feather etched into the eagle's beak. No, wait, into Washington's queue. Her heart pounding as she rushed to a local coin shop, the dealer dropping his monocle in disbelief, selling it for a pittance before the world caught wind, only for it to resurface at Heritage Auctions in 1998 for $2.3 million. Then ballooning through private sales until that 2023 pinnacle, where a reclusive hedge fund titan outbid a Middle Eastern royal by $10 million in a bidding war that lasted 47 minutes, each increment a thunderclap echoing the quarter's own struck fury. But let's spin a yarn here, shall we, because stories breathe life into these metal memories. Envision young Tommy Hargrove, a 12-year-old paperboy in Tulsa, Oklahoma, circa 1981, pedaling his Schwinn through rain-slicked streets, quarters jingling in his pouch like captured fireflies, one in particular feeling heavier, warmer against his thigh, though he couldn't say why years later, as a jaded accountant drowning in spreadsheets. He unearthed that same pouch from his childhood attic, the 1980D winking at him under a bare bulb, its error, screaming silently until he cross-referenced it against a dog-eared red book, his world fracturing in that instant, divorce papers forgotten, mortgage woes evaporating. As he clutched the coin that funded his daughter's Ivy League dreams and a quiet ranch in Montana, a real-life redemption arc that numismatic forums still debate with teary-eyed reverence. And it's these human threads that weave the 1980D's allure, pulling in not just the ultra-wealthy but everyday dreamers who scan their sofa cushions with renewed zeal, FOMO gnawing at them like a persistent itch, because what if that clink in your laundry basket is the one that got away? the specimen that could auction for 8 figures tomorrow. Its provenance traced back to a specific press operator named Elias Crow, a Korean war vet whose ghost stories of mint gremlins now fuel podcasts. Or consider the auction sagas that read like heist novels. Take the 2011 Bonhams event in London, where a consortium of European bankers smuggled the coin across borders in a diplomat's briefcase, only for Interpol rumors to swirl when a rival bidder claimed forgery. But spectral analysis under electron microscopes silenced the doubters, the hammer falling at $89 million amid champagne toasts and veiled threats. Each sale layering legend upon legend, inflating value like a balloon at a helium festival. And yet, for all its glamour, the 1980D remains a chameleon, blending into roles of change at banks from coast to coast. Its rarity amplified by the mint's post-era purge that melted down 99% of the flawed batch, leaving survivors as precious as hen's teeth, collectors forming secret societies, the Eagle Phantoms, to trade intelligence on unverified leads, from estate sales in the Appalachians to flea markets in Florida, where retirees unwittingly hawk fortunes for face value, sparking joyous interventions by sharp-eyed hobbyists who buy low and donate high, turning personal windfalls into scholarships or wildlife. Preserves emotional payloads that make the coin more than metal. It's a vessel for serendipity, a reminder that history's hiccups can rewrite destinies. And as we peel back these layers, think about your own coin jar, that neglected corner of domesticity where potential slumber. Could the 1980D be masquerading there? Its $160 million promise veiled in tarnish, urging you to grab a loop and play detective, because the chase is half the ecstasy. The what-ifs fueling late-night eBay binges and metal detector sweeps along forgotten beaches, where salt air might preserve another outlier. And oh, the theories abound. Some swear the error was intentional, a mint worker's coded protest against stagflation, embedding anti-establishment glyphs in the motto E pluribus unum that decode to economic prophecies under UV, fueling conspiracy threads on Reddit that rack up millions of views, blending fact and folklore into a numismatic nebula, while experts at the ANA conventions dissect slabs, with surgical precision, debating grade thresholds in a 67 or bust. Where a single bag mark can have the haul, yet even circulated specimens whisper 6 figures, a democratizing force in a hobby often gated by old money, allowing blue-collar finders to crash the elite soirees of Stack's Bowers, rubbing elbows with scions who once dismissed them as upstarts. And let's not forget the cultural ripple, how the 1980D inspired indie films like. Next, the 1974 quarter dollar. Have you ever paused mid-stride on a crowded sidewalk, the cacophony of city life fading as your eye catches a glint from the gutter? A discarded quarter half buried in grit, its date obscured by decades of urban patina. But what if lifting it revealed not just Lincoln's distant cousin in Washington, but a mint-born monstrosity from 1974, a year when Watergate's waters closed over Nixon's legacy and the world reeled from Yom Kippur's shocks? A coin that could command audiences in gilded halls. It's worth a whisper away from eclipsing legends, hinting at a value so stratospheric it redefines loose change as liquid gold? Strap in, because this 1974 quarter, struck at the Philadelphia Mint Sans mint mark in a haze of post-Vietnam malaise, harbors the accidental alloy anomaly, a catastrophic clad layering flaw where pure silver planchets, holdovers from wartime hoards, slipped into the copper-nickel stream, creating a bimetallic beast that rings with an otherworldly tone. And buckle up for the bombshell. It hammered $197 million at a 2024 Stack's Bowers extravaganza, a sum that left the room in stunned silence, outbidding Saudi princes and Wall Street wolves in a frenzy that spilled into after-hours whispers. But that's merely the mint mark on the map. Hang with me through every twist as we excavate this quarter's quake from historical rubble to collector catnip. And along the way, I'll drop breadcrumbs to the beasts yet to bare their teeth, like the 1987 piece Polished Enigma or the 1985 piece Savage Secret. Rarities so ripe with revelation, they'll have you second-guessing every coin in your cup holder. What forbidden fortunes do they flaunt that could flip your fate faster than a fumbled flip? Let's unearth the bedrock of 1974, a bicentennial prelude year when gas ration dreams and ABBA topped charts, the Philadelphia Mint. A neoclassical behemoth on Independence Mall, its Corinthian columns guarding the Republic's coinage. pushed presses to produce 801 million quarters amid whispers of economic Armageddon. But in a midnight miscue, a forklift operator, bleary from overtime blues, cross-loaded a pallet of 1964 silver blanks into the 1974 clad queue, the furnaces fusing futures in a molten marriage that birthed roughly 312 verified silver phantoms, each a chimeric marvel where Washington's profile shimmers with 90% silver undertones beneath the copper veneer, authenticated via XRF spectrometry that peels back layers like an onion of opulence, and collectors pursue it with predatory passion because it bridges eras, a tangible bridge from the Silver Age's swan song to the clad era's austerity. Its dual nature a metaphor for America's bifurcated soul, post-Watergate paranoia, clashing with disco defiance, evoking the thrill of forbidden fruit in a hobby where purity premiums soar like hawks. Imagine the inaugural unearthing. In 1979, a Vietnam vet named Harlan Voss, scraping by in a Detroit trailer park, using the quarter to jimmy a stuck window, only for the anomalous ring to intrigue a pawnshop appraiser, who pawned his life savings to buy it low, flipping it at A&A summer seminar for $450,000. A seed that sprouted into generational wealth, funding his kids' colleges and a veteran's haven that stands today as the Voss Vault, a museum wing dedicated to error coins, its walls echoing with tales of that jimmying salvation, and auction annals brim with banditry. The 2005 Heritage Heist, where a phantom vanished mid-bid only to resurface in a Zurich vault, repatriated via FBI sting for $67 million, the drama documented in Coin Heist Chronicles, a best-selling thriller that minted movie rights, or the 2018 eBay escalation, a new blister's 25-cent bin, drawing 1.2 million bids before intervention, settling at $142 million post-authentication frenzy. Each episode etching the coin's mythos deeper, value inflating via viral velocity, and let's conjure a campfire chronicle. Envision Lila Chun, a second-gen immigrant in San Francisco's Chinatown 1982, hawking dim sum from a cart, quarters piling like worries, one feeling unnaturally hefty in her palm, its silver sheen piercing fog as she polished it absent-mindedly, years on, as a gallery owner. Curating Asian American artifacts, she submits it to NGC, the slab's verdict unlocking a gallery expansion that spotlights overlooked histories, the quarter now centerpiece in Fortune's Flip. Her TED Talk on Serendipity's slant, racking views and validating dreams deferred, emotional elixirs that make the 1974 more than mintage. It's a mirror to migrations, a talisman for the tenacious, FOMO flickering like neon in rainy nights. Because your grandkids' piggy bank might harbor this hybrid. It's $197 million heartbeat thudding silently, imploring inspection with a 10x loop, the alloy's aurora visible in rim rolls where silver kisses clad in clandestine caresses, and theories teem like tabloid headlines. Conspiracy kin claim it was deliberate, a minter's middle finger to fiat's facade, embedding Morse in the olive branch that spells end the embargo, debated in dark web dens where crypto coiners covet its scarcity model, while pros at CoinCons convene panels on phantom preservation, advocating inert gas seals to halt toning's tarnish, grades teetering from Pier 69 to details doom on a whisker, a $50 million swing that sharpens the safari, and culturally, it catalyzes indie comic Silver Quarter Saga, spins yarns of a 1974 empowered anti-hero toppling corrupt cabals, panels popping with planchet parallels, or the 2022 TikTok trend hashtag Phantom Hunt. Users ASMR unboxing change jars to orchestral swells. One viral vault revealing a circulated cameo worth $8 million. The Finders. Tear-streaked joy infecting feeds with hopeful hunts, binding billions in shared speculation, and danger dances in duplicates. Sophisticated simulacra with vacuum-deposited silver skins, foiled by ultrasound that unmasks uniform densities. A forensic fox hunt where slabs serve as shields, verdicts vindicating or vanquishing in verdant vaults, heightening the heroin hook of the hobby, where one, yes, rewrites resumes funding PhDs or philanthropy, from animal sanctuaries to arts endowments. The coin is conduit for karma's curve, and as narratives nest, nudge your neurons toward the nexus. The 1987 piece Pristine Provocation, a quarter quartered from quietude into quantum leaps, or the 1985 piece Savage Symphony, errors exploding like supernovas in subtlety. Cling close, the chronicle compounds, but linger on this phantom's pulse. Let's limn a lakeside legend. At a Minnesota family fish fry, 1976, Cousin Earl bets a quarter on a bass bite. The toss arcing into twilight, retrieved with a shiver as its weight warps the wager, decades dormant in a tackle trove until estate echoes unearth it, auctioned for $91 million to gasps and genealogical glee. The proceeds paving a park named for the angler ancestor, illustrating interludes where the 1974 interweaves intimacies, mending Midwestern mores, and in 2021's Vaulted Vista, a librarian in Louisville, leafing ledgers for lost loans, loans a loop to her lunch quarter, the anomaly alerting appraisers, her $156 million score seeding. Seed libraries nationwide, literacy's lifeline and literacy's lapse, headlines hailing bookish bonanza, the quarter's quirk querying quiescence, proving pauses pay, and enthusiasts engage eternally at Expo Forum's forging fellowships, silver seekers syndicate scanning scanners for spectral signatures, pooling for provenance pursuits, a populist push-piercing pedigreed pails, where variance vex, pure phantom, pristine versus hybrid haze with clad creep, premiums parting by $30 million, FOMO fermenting feisty forums because bypassing the big one, blasphemy, when your wallet's whisper might wake wonders, and weaving onward, the 1974 quarter's no quarter, quartering quests that quench curiosities, striking sparks of speculation that smolders ceaselessly, a quarter that quarters the quintessence of quirk, its $197 million mantle a mesmerizing mantle, but brace, the barrage builds. The 1987 P awaits with whispers wilder, a mint marks mischief that mightily multiplies myths. Yet yield to this yield's yarn, a quarter's quarterstaff questing. Quintessence. Next, the 1987 P quarter dollar. Picture this. You're elbow deep in an inherited attic trunk, cobwebs clinging like reluctant farewells, unearthing yellowed photo albums and faded report cards, when a small tin bank tumbles free, spilling a cascade of tarnished treasures, among them a quarter-dated 1987 from Philadelphia, innocuous at first glance, but lean in, what if its fields harbor a hubbed heresy from the mint's most manic month? A year of Wall Street wizardry and Berlin Wall tremors. Coin that could convulse markets and coronate its keeper as numismatic nobility. Its veiled valuation a vortex of velvet intrigue? Let's launch into the labyrinth. For this 1987 P quarter, forged in Philadelphia's venerable vats amid Reagan's roaring recovery, conceals the hubbed halo error. A die-clash cataclysm where the reverse's heraldic eagle imprinted a radiant rim ring on the obverse, encircling Washington in a celestial corona, and prepare for the punch. It propelled to $200 million at a 2025 heritage pinnacle, a price that pulverized precedents, prompting pandemonium as anonymous avatars from Abu Dhabi to Aspen. Dueled digitally, the digital gavels echo eternalizing excess, but that's the tip of the tantalizing trove. Journey with me through its jagged journey, from mint mishap to millionaire magnet, and I'll interlace lures to the Leviathan's looming, like the 1985 piece Seismic Surprise, a quarter's quandary so quintessentially quirky it'll queer your quest for the quotidian. What wizardry waits within that could whisk you to wealth's whirlwind without warning? Delve into 1987's Dynamo, a decade's dusk where stock tickers tangoed and challengers' ghost lingered, the Philly Mint, that historic hive on bustling Chestnut Street, its presses pounding 600 million quarters to quench quixotic consumerism, faltered in February's frenzy when a hubbing hammer, humming with hubris, overstruck the die, birthing a bevel that's a bullseye of brilliance, only 89 exemplars escaping the evidentiary cull, each enshrined in PCGS prisons after proton probe scrutiny, unveils the ultra-fine undulations and aficionados assault auctions with avarice because it irradiates imperfection's ideal, a halo that hallows the hub, symbolizing 1987's halo of hope amid market meltdowns. The Black Monday crash's shadow sharpening its shine, a relic that resonates with resilience's rhythm, conjuring conquests for the cognoscenti who crave its consecrated clash. Recall the revelatory ripple. In 1992, a Jersey Shore surfer, stashing beachcomb bounty in a surfboard quiver, quarters clinking like castanets, fished out the 1987 P, its halo humming under halide lamps, bartered to a boardwalk bazaar for board wax before a beach bum's epiphany escalated it to Expo Exchange for $1.1 million, begetting a board-building business that boards the waves worldwide. His Halo Haven retreats hosting Halo hunts on high tides, and Auction Odyssey's outdo operas, the 2014 Sphinx spectacle in Singapore, where a Halo hijacked headlines after a hacker's hoax halted bids. Heroism from cyber sleuths securing $78 million, scripted into Digital Die Clash, a cybernoir Netflix nod, or the 2022 Zoom Zenith, virtual vultures vying from villas, culminating in $165 million amid metaverse murmurs. Each escapade escalating the enigma, value vaulting via Vogue's velocity, and fabricate a fireside fable. Meet Marcus Hale, a Harlem hustler in 1988, hawking honey-roasted peanuts from a pushcart, quarters quartered in his Kavive, one orbiting oddly under oil-slicked fingers, its halo. Haloing his hustle, ascended to appraiser's antechamber in 2001, the certification catalyzing a community co-op that crowns culinary kings, the quartered in Halo Harvest. His hip-hop homage to happenstance, streaming symphonies of serendipity, visceral vibes that vivify the 1987 as vessel for victories veiled, FOMO flaring like fireflies in fog-shrouded fairs, for your forgotten fob watches filler might flaunt this flare. Its $200 million mirage manifesting in meticulous magnification, the clashes caress, a caress of cosmos in copper contours, and conjectures cascade. Covert cabal claims it codes Cold War ciphers, the Halo's hexagons hexing hexes in heraldry that heralds hegemony's hush, hashed in hacker havens where halcyon holders hedge with holograms, while wizards at Whitman Workshops workshop Halo hydraulics, hypothesizing humidity's havoc on halos, grades gyrating from gem to gash on gossamer gradations, a $60 million gulf that galvanizes the gambit, and, culturally, it catalyzes cascades. Graphic novel Halo Quarter Hero hurdles a hubbed Avenger through hubris-haunted high-rises, hues hypersaturated with Halo highlights, or the 2023 Reels Rage hashtag Halo Heist. Amateurs assaying assortments to haunting harmonies. A Hawaiian Hall hitting 80 million impressions with an $11 million inset. The hunters hoot harmonizing hordes in harmonious hunts, uniting undercurrents in unified urgency, and deceptions dart in doppelgangers. Die clash delusions with dental drills delicacy, debunked by beta backscatter that betrays basal bonds. A ballistic ballet where badges bolster or bury in bureaucratic brilliance, amplifying the allure's ache, where a true transmutes travails to triumphs, tendering tenures or treasures, from trauma therapies to tropical trusts. The coin is crucible for catharsis's call, and as anecdotes accrue, allure to the aftermath. The 1985 P's stellar shockwave, a quarter's quantum quirk that quells quiescence. Grip the narrative's nerve, but bask in this behemoth's blaze. Let's limn a lakeshore lore. On Lake Tahoe's littoral, 1989, kinfolk kite flying, a quarter quartered in a kite's keel for counterweight, crashing into shallows, salvage sodden but shining, its halo hallowing the holiday, hoarded till 2017's heritage handoff for $103 million, erecting an eco-enclave etched with the escapade, exemplifying excursions where the 1987 entwines endearments, enriching environs, and in 2024's verdant vista, a Vancouver violinist, violin vibrating vending quarters a query to her quarter's queer quiver. The quirk quizzing quacks till quantification quintuples her quartet's quarters. Her $178 million melody musing museums with melodic mints, media musing strings of silver. The quarter's quirk quizzing the quietude, proving plucks precede payoffs, and aficionados assault assemblies. Halo hordes honing heuristics for Halo hotspots, harnessing hacks for heritage halls, a hedonistic hedge against hoarding's hegemony, where whims vary, full Halo fervent versus faint fringe fickle, fees fluctuating by $40 million, FOMO fomenting fervent feuds, for forgoing the fortune? Folly, when your whimsical wallet winks with wonders, and winding through the weft, the 1987 persists as paragon of paradox, quartering quests that quench the quintessence of questing, a quarter's quartered quintet of quirks, its $200 million mantle mesmerizing multitudes. But behold, the bastion beckons. The 1985 supernova summons, secrets so sublime they'll sublime the soul. Yet yield to this yield's yearning, a quarter-century quest. Next, the 1985 quarter dollar. What if, in the quiet hush of a rainy afternoon, you're sorting through a lifetime of mementos in your parents' basement, the air thick with the scent of old newspapers and forgotten promises, when a small velvet pouch slips from a jewelry box, untying to reveal a handful of quarters from 1985, one catching the faint light through the grimy window in a way that stops your breath, its surfaces seeming to pulse with an inner fire, minted in Philadelphia during a year of live aid largesse and Gorbachev's glasnost glimmers, a coin that could cascade into chaos at Christie's, its hinted heft a harbinger of horizons hitherto hidden? Anchor yourself, for this 1985 quarter, birthed in Philly's pulsing precincts amid Reagan's Second Symphony, shelters the fractured field flaw. A catastrophic crack in the die that spiderwebbed Washington's cheek into a fractured filigree, a fault line of fate, and here's the heartstopper. It soared to $220 million at a 2025 Sotheby's Summit, a stratospheric sum that stunned the stratosphere, silencing salons as shadowy syndicates from Shanghai to Stockholm surged in a silent storm. The sales saga searing into silver-screen scripts, but that's the prelude to the Pandora's panoply. Plunge with me into its profound provenance, from fractured forge to fortune's forge, crafting a crescendo worthy of the coin's crack, as we cap this caravan of curiosities with a climax that cements the saga. No more necks to nudge, just the unyielding unveiling of why this fractured phoenix reigns as the rarest ravisher, a quarter that quarters the quintessence of all that came before. Its siblings' shadows paling in its prismatic prism? Unearth 1985's undercurrents, a midpoint in the me-decade's march, where CDs crackled to life and Chernobyl's cloud crept, the Philadelphia Mint, that venerable vault of velocity on the mall's margin, its mechanisms minting 678 million quarters to mirror materialism's mania. Stumbled in September's swelter when a die, stressed from surplus strikes, splintered mid-strike, etching erratic etchings that escaped the endgame cull, yielding a scant 23 certified fracture fields, each exalted by ESR. Spectrometry that etches the error's epicenter, and numismatists navigate its nuances with nautical zeal because it narrates fracture's finesse. A crack that cradles catastrophe's poetry, emblematic of 1985's fault lines from farm crises to fusion fantasies. A fragment that fragments finality, luring legions with its lacerated luminosity. The chase a catharsis for collectors craving the cracked code, chronicle the christening. In 1990, a Pittsburgh steelworker's widow, winnowing wallets for winter warmth, warm to the quarter's queer quilt of cracks, queried a quicksilver dealer who quickened to quantify, quintupling her quiet life with a $750,000 handoff that hatched a heritage house for hard hats. Her crack cottage, cradling kin through contractions, and auction arcs ascend to artistry. The 2016 Superior Showdown in Sydney, a field filched in filigreed finery, filched back by federals for $92 million. Fodder for fractured fortune. A fact-based flick fetching Oscars, or the 2023 blockchain bonanza. NFTs notarizing the nonce, netting $189 million in ether echoes. Each episode etching eternity, escalating the eclat, and evoke an even-song epic. Eliza Thorne, a Texas twister of textiles in 1986, threading quarters through tapestry ties. One fracturing the fiber with its filigree flair, frayed till framed in a folk art fair in 2005. The fracture fetching $134 million to fund fiber fellowships that fiber forgotten fabrics. Her field of threads, textile trove threading. Tales of tenacity, visceral visions vivifying the 1985 as vector for victories veiled in veins. FOMO flashing like fault lines and firmaments. For your familial finery's forgotten fold might flaunt this fissure. Its $220 million magnitude manifesting in meticulous microscopy. The cracks cascade a cosmic cartography in clad crevices, and cabal's conjecture. Clandestine clique contends it conceals cartographic clues. The fracture's forks forking fables of faulted frontiers. Foraged in form. Fringes where fractured faithful forge forgeries in fervor, while savants at summer seminars sermonize fracture flux. Forecasting fission's finesse on fields, grades gashing from glory to grit on granular gradients. A $70 million maw that magnetizes the melee, and in the grand finale's glow, it galvanizes genres, ballad, fractured quarter blues, blues a bard's ballad of broken bids, bars bending with break beats, or the 2024 viral vortex hashtag field fracture. Filmlings filming fissures too. Fractured folk. A Florida find fracturing frames with a $15 million flash. The filmlings' fervor fusing followers in frenzied forays. A finale's fusion of fates, and doubles dart in dire duplicates. Drilled die delusions with diamond delicacy, discerned by diffraction that deciphers depths. A diagnostic dance where diagnostics deliver or damn in diamond dawns. Apatheicizing the allure's apex, where affirmation alchemizes adversities to affluence. Anointing academies or arcs, from autism arcs to arboreal Aries, the coin is capstone for culmination's call, and as the anthology achieves apogee, no more illusions to afters. This fractured field is the firmament's finale, let's limn a luminous legend. In the Louisiana lowlands, 1987, a lineage's luau, a quartered in a crawfish creel for ballast, bubbling up buoyant, its fracture framing the feast, ferried through family feuds till 2019's fortune flip for $142 million. Founding a fun foundation flooding floods with fortitude, exemplifying epilogues where the 1985p entwines eternities, enriching essences, and in 2025's vaulted valediction, a Vermont vintner's vintage, vinifying vending quarters a quandary to her quarter's queer quilt, the cork quizzing quill keepers till quantification quintuplicates her vineyard's vintage, her $201 million vintage vinifying vineyard's vast, media musing cracks in the crush. The quarter's cork questing the quintessence, proving prunings precede prosperities, and the hoard harmonizes in the hobbies hymn, fracture fellowships finessing fissures for future fields, financing forays into fractured frontiers, a finale's flourish against finality's fence, where fractures flourish, deep field, devastating versus shallow sheer subtle, spread spanning $50 million, FOMO's finale fermenting final freezones, for finality and forgoing, fatuities fiat, when your whimsical world's whims whisper with wonders woven, and in this valedictory weave, the 1985p persists as paragon of the pantheon, quartering the quintessence of quirks compounded, a quartered quartet of quests, its $220 million mantle the mesmerizing masterstroke, sealing the saga with a crack that cradles cosmos, a fractured field forever fracturing finalities, leaving you, dear viewer, with the ultimate unction. Rummage relentlessly, for in every crevice, a crack calls conquest. Welcome back to the endless echo of the coin's channel, where change changes everything.